Guys, I've said it before, in cryptocurrencies, you can find projects that are giving you 100x return, meaning you're making $100 for every $1 you put in. But with high rewards come high risk. In today's video, we're going to talk about the dark side of DeFi. Make sure you watch all the way to the end because I'm also going to reveal a secret strategy that helps me find consistently great projects. But I know why you're here. Let's get into it. What's up, guys? This is JC and welcome to the Wealth Engineering channel. This is where I create content so that you can learn how to make, keep, and multiply money in the world of cryptocurrencies, especially in DeFi. And today we're going to talk about DeFi, but a side that most people don't necessarily talk about online, and I'm going to be exposing it today. So what is DeFi? Decentralized finance. One of the beautiful things, any developers can go out here, program a protocol on a blockchain and starts an innovative trend that most people are going to embark with. And I'm going to be showing you some of that today. But hey, the dark side here is, hey, it's not regulated. The SEC has no control over it. It's decentralized, so anyone in the world can start a project under different regulations. And that creates a problem because a lot of investors are just going out there based on the hypes and not on technical investing. And many people lose a lot of money like that on scams. A lot of scammers actually take advantage of this loophole and scam people of a lot of money. And last year was no short of scams on cryptocurrencies. And that usually happens on bull run. But even in a bear market, because we're still fresh from the bull run that just ended, you can still find scams. And in today's video, I'm going to be showing you some guides on things that I look for to make sure that a cryptocurrency is a good project or not, and double down on the good ones. That's definitely what it is. So first thing I got to talk to you about is trend. Trend is definitely one of the uncontrollable forces that can affect your wealth that I pay attention to. I talk about this a lot on my technical investor course. Link will be in the description below. But hey, trend is a huge, powerful thing. I'll give you an example. Last year, Safemoon was one of the projects that was actually successful. Why? Because it got out of nowhere. All of a sudden, it had millions of people investing in it. Next thing you know, the market cap is now at over $300 million, and it's still like a top 250 cryptocurrencies in the world. There was a time this cryptocurrencies was booming like crazy. Me personally, I made a 54x profit on this crypto right here, and this is it. But that's what I'm saying, trend. That's the point. Because of the success of these cryptocurrencies, many of other projects started following the same model, kind of like a carbon copy of the same projects. What happens with cryptocurrencies, because the code is public, you can literally extract the code, copy it, change the name, have a different branding, and launch the project again on the same DeFi platform.
Wait a minute!
And that's exactly what happened with Safemoon. The weeks after all-time high, many of other projects started being released, something like a Safemars, for example, and look at the trend. Now it's still going low and it never went back up from the previous night. If we go back on Safemoon, Safemoon was doing great at launch, but looking at it now, it's still bad. Like, it's nowhere close to what the top of the all-time high was. But technically, it's still higher than what it was. And when you still have $300 million in market cap, it's here to stay. You just have to find a new use case. Safemoon is here to stay. There is a big community behind it. And eventually, when you have a community, that's where the true value relies. You can always find ways to offer value to these people. So that's the story of Safemoon. But I wanted to use this example right here to show you the trend. The trend was one project started, and that gave birth to many of our other projects. I could have pulled tons of examples, but I just decided to focus on Safemars only because of the name. Right? You see how close the name was? Safemoon, Safemars. Moon is kind of like on a galaxy. Mars is the closest planet after that. So it's, you know, it's fairly similar, and they have the similar look on the website as well, right? Now, it's the same thing that's happening right now on decentralized finance with those niche. It's the passive income niche, right? On DeFi right now, there is a project that's been very successful under the name of Drip. Drip has been very successful. Have made a video about that. I'll put a link somewhere here so you could see it. But hey, because of the success of Drip, there are many of other platforms that are copying it, and they're not necessarily as successful as Drip. Why? Well, it's because the developers don't have the same experience in securing the protocol. For example, here's another one, Elephant.money. It's been following the exact same trend as Drip, but it just got crashed. Just like Drip, it started from nothing. It was in August last year, and then a couple weeks ago it was blowing up like crazy. This is an exponential curve right here. Look at gains. We're talking about 74x, right? So that sounds great. However, because when a project starts blowing up like this is when hackers are going to be attracted to it, and next thing you know, it started crashing right after. Now you see this candle right here. This was $11 million taken away from the liquidity pool of these projects. And then as soon as this happens, this project will arguably never reach back its previous high ever again. And this happens because of an exploit from the code, a loophole that allowed hackers to sell legally $11 million of tokens that they didn't necessarily have. And that's a problem. That's a problem. This is exactly how the code was. That's what happens when you try to replicate a project that is successful. You don't necessarily have the experience, the code, the community to really back up the projects, and it's going to attract. And can you secure yourself from hackers? So Elephant.money right now, it's a no-go. And the same thing happened to Splassive. Now, Splassive is doing the exact same thing as Drip, but on the Avalanche ecosystem. It's giving 2% per day every day instead of 1% from Drip. Same thing, right? It was blowing up like crazy, but next thing you know, you can't see it from this chart here, but look at the price. It went from $11 to $9, and I can tell you 2 weeks ago, it was like in a $30 range, blowing up from $1 all the way to 30, and then it started crashing because of a scam, right? Some people was able to extract a lot of money from the liquidity pool, and next thing you know, that crashed the projects. They had to close the website, restructure the code, and then that's why you don't see the history anymore, because they relaunched it a couple days ago, 3 days ago to be exact, and that's what you see. But since it's been relaunching, it's been dropping like crazy, and I don't think this project will survive this trend right here. But why am I talking to you about that, right? It's because I see this trend repeating over and over again, and many people are falling for it, being attracted by the high returns, not really doing their due diligence to see if this is sustainable or not. I'll give you another example. Look at this right here, baked beans, right? It's a carbon copy of exactly what Drip started, but instead of giving 1% per day, they're giving 8% per day. They're also rewarding people with referrals, just like Drip started doing, but 12% rewards on top of 8% per day every day. This is not something that is sustainable, right? But because it's starting to get some momentum, next thing you know, plenty of other projects that are paying 8% per day that are starting, and it is just too early for you to go out there and to put money into these projects, because first, you haven't done your due diligence. Second, you need to validate to see if the protocol can sustain hacks, right? Can also sustain paying people so much for a very long amount of time. You need to validate all that. And also you need to validate the community behind it, the utility case for such token. There's plenty of research that you need to do, and sometimes that takes time. But people that are doing these projects, they're leveraging on FOMO, fear of missing out. FOMO, most people who are fearful for missing another opportunity will fall for a project like this. They're thinking based on their emotions and not with logic. That's why projects like that are successful at scamming people, right? Because first, they're leveraging the trend. Second, they're leveraging fear of missing out and people not necessarily doing their due diligence, and they're luring them with very appealing rewards that is not sustainable on the long term. Now, does that mean baked beans will fail? That's not exactly what I'm saying. All I'm saying right now is it is way too early for you to go out there and to leverage and invest money that you don't necessarily have. I would definitely not recommend this. And this is the dark side of cryptocurrencies, because many of people, especially millennials, they are desperate. They're seeing inflation, price rising, gas rising, rent rising, everything is rising, and they're desperate for a solution to find a way to make money fast. And when they see things like this, they cannot resist the attraction and they put a lot of money in, sometimes their last paycheck, to try to get a fast return. But most of the times, projects like this is going to fall. So how do I find great project to invest in DeFi cryptocurrencies? First, no matter what you do in DeFi, it's a level of risk. One of the first investment that ever made in DeFi was staking and farming Shiba coin. But with Shiba, I was lucky, right? For every Shiba that I bought that multiplied 4x, 5x, right? I had to lose a lot of money by trial and error. So one of the things you can do is, hey, learn from someone who's been doing it, been trying it, instead of trying it on your own and fail many times and lose your money. That's one thing you can do. Let time work for you, all right? Your first reaction when you hear high returns like this is to jump on it fast, right? So what I would say is resist the urge of jumping and instead observe the project over a long period of time. Me, before I invested in Drip, I waited 9 months before putting the first dollar into Drip. Throughout that time, I've been doing my research. I've been observing the market, the DeFi, the value proposition that they have. I've been observing what the developer was doing. And more importantly, does he do what he says he's going to do? That's the other thing, is the community is growing, is the community is supporting. And that's another reason why in this current bear market, Drip is one of the best investments that I'm doing in the DeFi network. Of course, there is a level of risk, but out of all of these projects that are paying high returns daily, I would definitely put Drip as my number one. Why? Because it has over 100,000 people involved in it. It has over 1 year since the protocol has been doing. Every part of this protocol has been tested by other YouTubers, by other influencers. So there is a lot of history in that. So you could leverage that time on your purpose as opposed to jumping something new, hoping to make a quick buck, and next thing you know, you're going to lose most of your deposit. So from that perspective, only invest what you're willing to lose. But if you're interested in investing in Drip, I would definitely say look into it, do your own research. And if you're interested to join, I have the link below for my referral code, and you can use that to join in on the platform. But all that to say, guys, be careful out there. Don't just take for granted the high returns that you're going to get daily. More importantly, watch what's going to happen over a long period of time. Some of these projects, what they say they're going to do, can only work for 3-4 weeks, not for a full year. 8% per day. This is just, be careful with that. Be careful. Of course, there might be something in the future that might work like this, but you know what? Time will tell, and let time be your greatest assets into finding great investments to invest in. With that said, guys, please hit the like button and share this video to as many people as possible so that they can be aware of the dangers of DeFi. It's not regulated. At some point, regulation will come for everyone. So eventually, that will have to stop one day, or it will be much harder to invest in DeFi cryptocurrencies. But before this happens, we can make some great money in DeFi currencies, but we just have to be very careful on how we approach it. And this is why I'm sharing videos like this. I want to help on board as many of you as possible, because I truly believe that this is the best way to fight inflation right now, is to find a nice, consistent project that has a strong background, strong team, and strong fundamentals and utilities to help you guide this bear market and stash and collect your incomes as the entire crypto market drops. With that said, we'll talk on the next one.
Hey, yeah, it's all about wealth engineering. Might be something that you're not used to. It's okay, cause I'm here to introduce you to concepts. Time to grow and make big moves. All about crypto, come see. Stocks and business, yes indeed. Got the info that you need. Hosted by my homie JC. Hey.